How to detach from people and situations. Stoic secrets. Stoicism. Welcome to Stoic Secrets, where ancient wisdom meets modern life. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get overwhelmed by emotions and distractions. Relationships, work, and external pressures can leave us feeling drained and out of control. But what if we told you there's a powerful tool that can help you regain your emotional balance and inner peace? That tool is Stoicism. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control external events, we do have complete control over how we respond to them. The key is learning to detach, not by ignoring life's challenges, but by mastering how we react to them. In this video, we'll explore practical Stoic strategies to help you detach from people and situations that disrupt your peace of mind. These techniques will allow you to stay true to your values, make thoughtful decisions, and focus on what truly matters. By the end, you'll have the tools to navigate life with greater emotional resilience and clarity, creating the mental space needed for personal growth. Stick around to learn how Stoicism can help you live a life of purpose, inner calm, and wisdom. Number 1. Step back for reflection. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by external noise, whether from the fast pace of modern life, the expectations of others, or the constant flow of information, and internal noise, such as our own worries, fears, and stress, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. It's no wonder that, in such a chaotic environment, our judgment can become clouded, and we may act impulsively, often resulting in regret. Yet, in the midst of this whirlwind, there is a simple yet profoundly effective strategy to regain control and emotional balance: detachment. This is a key practice in Stoic philosophy, and understanding it can be life-changing. Detaching from people and situations doesn't mean running away or avoiding life's challenges. Instead, it's about creating enough mental space to process our emotions in a deliberate, thoughtful way. It's about taking a step back before reacting, allowing us to respond with wisdom rather than be driven by immediate impulses. One of the most powerful Stoic secrets is the practice of stepping back for reflection. Think of it as hitting the pause button on your emotions. When you momentarily distance yourself from the situation at hand, you give yourself the mental space to reflect without the immediate influence of anger, fear, or frustration. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, understood the power of retreating inwardly to find clarity. He famously advised, "Retire into yourself as much as you can." This isn't about abandoning responsibilities or avoiding confrontation. It's about retreating from the emotional storm so you can think clearly and regain composure. Whether it's stepping out of a heated argument, taking a brief walk to clear your head during a stressful day, or simply pausing for a few moments to gather your thoughts before responding to a challenging situation, this temporary detachment is incredibly valuable. It allows you to cool down, reflect, and respond in a more measured, composed way, instead of acting out of frustration or anger. Let's imagine a scenario. You're in a tense work meeting and someone says something that strikes a nerve. Your immediate reaction is to defend yourself, maybe even lash out. But what if, instead of reacting impulsively, you took a moment to detach? Perhaps you asked to step away for a few minutes, take a few deep breaths, and reflect. When you return to the discussion, your response is more measured, aligned with your values, and thoughtful, not emotionally charged. This pause gives you the opportunity to examine your emotions and their underlying causes before you make any decisions. Detaching in this way doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It simply means giving them the space to settle. This space allows you to act intentionally, rather than be swept away by strong emotions. When emotions are high, it's easy to make rash decisions we may regret later. Detachment, on the other hand, provides you with the time and clarity to evaluate the situation more rationally. It's almost like taking a step back from the situation and observing it as an outsider, allowing yourself to notice your feelings and thoughts without being consumed by them. This practice of detachment helps you respond in a way that aligns with your long-term goals, rather than simply reacting in the heat of the moment. So, the next time you feel your emotions escalating, whether it's anger, frustration, or anxiety, ask yourself, what would happen if you took a step back, even for just a few minutes? Could you approach the situation with greater wisdom, clarity, and composure? The answer is almost certainly yes. By practicing this form of emotional detachment, you're not just making better decisions in the moment, you're also regaining control of your emotional life. It enables you to respond rather than react, which is a key principle in Stoic philosophy. This Stoic secret, once practiced, can transform the way you navigate life's challenges. By detaching in the moment, you are choosing to no longer be a slave to your emotions. Instead, you become the master of how you respond to them. So, take a deep breath, step back, and remember, you don't have to react immediately. Give yourself the time and space to reflect, and you'll find that your decisions will more closely align with who you want to be. The lesson is simple yet profound. Detachment isn't about avoidance. It's about taking control of your emotional landscape, creating room for rational thought, and responding with wisdom. The more you practice this powerful tool, the more natural it becomes, transforming the way you interact with the world around you. Number 2, assess if detachment is right. In our pursuit of emotional resilience, it is vital to carefully evaluate whether detaching from a person or situation is the right path forward. Stoic philosophy encourages us to be deliberate in our choices and to reflect on whether our relationships are contributing to our growth or hindering our well-being. Detachment is not about avoiding discomfort, but about making a conscious decision that aligns with our values and emotional health. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic thinker, advises, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. This wisdom challenges us to reflect on whether our relationships are helping us grow or becoming obstacles in our journey toward virtue. In today's fast-paced world, it is easy to stay attached to relationships out of fear, obligation, or habit, even when they no longer serve us. Modern Stoicism teaches that it is often wise to let go of toxic connections, as they can drain our emotional and moral energy. Instead of holding on to these relationships out of duty, we can view detachment as an act of strength and self-preservation. With the constant distractions of modern life, discerning which relationships truly nurture our growth can be difficult. However, by following Epictetus's guidance and choosing relationships that support our virtues, we create an environment that fosters emotional and moral well-being. The critical question we must ask ourselves is whether the relationships in our lives align with our core values and contribute positively to our personal growth. Detaching from unhealthy relationships is never easy and often involves considerable emotional discomfort. Yet the teachings of modern Stoicism remind us that the temporary pain of letting go is far outweighed by the long-term benefits of emotional independence and personal development. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Our relationships, like our thoughts, play a central role in shaping our emotional state and overall happiness. When we remain in relationships that bring stress, negativity, or stagnation, we allow external factors to control our inner peace. Detachment in this context is not about rejecting people without cause, but about ensuring that the people and situations we engage with are in alignment with our deeper values and life purpose. When considering detachment, it's important to assess the emotional and moral cost of maintaining certain connections. Are we staying in a relationship out of obligation, fear of loneliness, or the discomfort of conflict? Stoicism teaches us that we should be guided by clarity and our values rather than by fear. Although it may seem easier to stay in an unhealthy relationship, the discomfort of change is only temporary, while neglecting our emotional health can have long-lasting consequences. By making the conscious choice to distance ourselves from relationships that don't align with our values, we create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections. Part of this process involves stepping back and evaluating our relationships within the broader context of our lives. Are these relationships helping us cultivate virtue, or are they distracting us from our goals? Often people cling to relationships out of nostalgia, guilt, or a sense of duty, even when these connections no longer serve their growth. Modern Stoicism urges us to resist this temptation. By carefully evaluating the role of each relationship in our lives, we can make more informed decisions that support our personal development and well-being. If a relationship does not contribute to our flourishing, it's okay to let it go. Detachment is not about rejecting others. It's about protecting our emotional space to make room for more meaningful engagements. Detaching from relationships or situations that no longer serve us is a powerful form of self-care. By taking the time to assess the value of the connections in our lives, we open the door to healthier, more enriching relationships. This process may be challenging at first, but with time it leads to greater emotional freedom, clarity, and alignment with the values that Seneca reminds us it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. The time spent in toxic or unfulfilling relationships is time that could be better used for personal growth and happiness. By practicing modern Stoicism in this way, we can reclaim our time, energy, and emotional resources, allowing space for what truly adds value to our lives. In doing so, we can live with greater purpose, emotional balance, and a deeper sense of connection to the people and experiences that truly matter. Number 3. Talk to someone you trust. In modern Stoicism, detaching from people and situations is not about withdrawing from the world or isolating ourselves emotionally. Rather, it is about achieving a calm, balanced perspective, one that is rooted in wisdom and emotional clarity. As part of this process, reaching out to someone you trust can play an essential role in helping you navigate difficult emotions and situations. Stoicism acknowledges that while emotional self-sufficiency is a crucial aspect of resilience, it is also important to recognize the value of meaningful human connections and support. Detachment in this sense means creating space for reflection and thoughtful conversation, not cutting off those who may be a source of understanding and guidance. Having a trusted individual, be it a friend, family member, or mentor, can offer the outside perspective needed to gain insight into your emotions and your circumstances. By talking to someone who embodies the Stoic virtues of calm and wisdom, you allow yourself not just a cathartic release, but also an opportunity to see the situation from a more balanced and reasoned viewpoint. Seneca, one of the foremost Stoic philosophers, often wrote about the importance of having a philosophical friend, someone who could provide guidance and help us navigate life's challenges with clarity and integrity. He famously stated, "The greatest blessing that can be bestowed upon a man, next to sound judgment and a modest temper, is that of a friendly acquaintance, a man he may consult just as he would a mirror. This resonates deeply in the context of modern Stoicism, where seeking out individuals who can help us grow intellectually and morally is seen as essential. When we turn to someone we trust, the goal is not simply to vent our frustrations or seek sympathy, but to engage in a meaningful exchange that allows us to understand our emotions better. It's a chance to receive advice that can shift our perspective, helping us untangle complex feelings and reactions. This kind of interaction strengthens the social bonds that contribute significantly to our emotional well-being. While Stoicism teaches the importance of self-reliance, it also emphasizes the value of relationships that encourage reflection, growth, and resilience. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by challenges and emotions, but by confiding in someone we trust, we create a space for self-reflection that fosters mental clarity and stability. The benefits of talking to someone you trust extend beyond just releasing pent-up feelings. It can also lead to greater understanding and insight, which helps you make more informed decisions. Through these conversations, you gain a deeper understanding of both yourself and the situation at hand, which can significantly enhance your emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches that life's challenges are best faced with both self-reliance and the support of others. We are not meant to walk the path of life alone, and seeking counsel from those who help us grow is integral to navigating life's difficulties with wisdom and peace of mind. This process of seeking support, whether it's from a trusted friend or a mentor, reflects the Stoic belief in balanced living, where detachment doesn't mean isolation, but rather emotional independence, supported by meaningful relationships. Engaging in these conversations helps us stay grounded and focused, allowing us to manage our emotions without being overwhelmed by them. It reinforces the Stoic principle that while we may not always control external events, we can control our response to them, shaping our emotional reactions through reflection and reason. So, in your journey towards greater emotional freedom, remember that detaching from a situation doesn't always mean shutting yourself off. Sometimes it means inviting a trusted person into your process of reflection, helping you see more clearly and live with greater peace. As Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." By reaching out to a trusted individual for guidance, we gain clarity and reduce the internal turmoil that comes from unresolved emotions, ultimately leading to a more peaceful and centered life. If you've reached this point, you're truly aligning with the wisdom of the universe. Now, let's take it a step further. Leave a comment below with the slogan, "Detach, reflect, grow." It's a simple, powerful way to show you're committed to embracing these Stoic principles and living with greater clarity and peace. Your journey has just begun, so stay with us. Let's continue to grow together. Number 4. Set emotional boundaries. In life, we are all constantly navigating a storm of emotions, both within ourselves and from the world around us. Emotions are natural, they are part of the human experience. But Stoicism teaches us a powerful lesson. We do not need to be controlled by them. Instead, we have the ability to regulate our emotional responses and set boundaries on how much influence they have over our actions. This practice is one of the most valuable Stoic secrets, enabling us to maintain a sense of calm and composure even when emotions run high. It's about recognizing our emotions, acknowledging them, and then consciously choosing how much power we allow them to have in shaping our behavior. Think about it. How often have you found yourself reacting impulsively to a situation only to regret it later? It's all too easy to let emotions take over. But with the right mindset, we can regain control and respond more thoughtfully. One of the core Stoic principles that guide us in this practice is apatheia. This term is often misunderstood as the absence of emotion altogether, but in fact it refers to a state of emotional tranquility, where our emotions no longer cloud our rational judgment. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus often taught that we have the power to resist emotional impulses and to choose how we respond to them. In other words, we are not slaves to our emotions. We can step back, observe them, and decide how to act in alignment with reason and virtue. This doesn't mean ignoring our emotions. Instead, it's about learning to create space between feeling and action. For example, if you find yourself becoming angry in a conversation, the natural reaction might be to respond immediately, to defend yourself or lash out. But what if, instead of reacting right away, you chose to pause and reflect? This pause doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It simply means creating the time and space to let the heat of the moment pass. By setting emotional boundaries, you are giving yourself permission to choose how to respond, instead of being driven by a knee-jerk reaction. Imagine a scenario where you're in a difficult meeting at work. Someone criticizes your project, and your first instinct is to defend your work passionately. But instead of jumping in with a defensive retort, you take a breath, step back for a moment and think. What would be the most constructive way to handle this situation? When you give yourself that moment, you may find that you respond in a more composed, rational way that aligns with your goals, rather than letting anger or frustration dictate your actions. This is the power of emotional boundaries. They give you the space to think before you act. Setting emotional boundaries is also key to enhancing your emotional intelligence. It's not about becoming indifferent to your feelings, but rather about learning to manage them in a way that helps you make better decisions and build emotional resilience. Imagine having the ability to remain calm when others around you are losing their cool, or to respond thoughtfully when emotions are running high in a conversation. This ability doesn't come from ignoring your emotions. It comes from learning how to regulate them so that they don't control you. When you can set limits on your emotional responses, you create the mental space to make wiser decisions, to stay true to your values, and to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. This practice is essential not only for maintaining inner peace, but also for living in alignment with your highest principles. So, how do you set emotional boundaries in your own life? It starts with awareness. The next time you feel an emotional reaction rising, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what am I feeling and why? Then, decide how you want to respond. By practicing this consistently, you'll build the ability to detach from emotional impulses and instead respond with wisdom, clarity, and purpose. Setting emotional boundaries is one of the Stoic secrets that allows you to live with greater emotional resilience, inner peace, and alignment with your true self. In the long run, it's not just about regulating your emotions. It's about using them as a tool for better decision-making and personal growth. Number 5. Consider detachment's consequences. When considering detachment from a person or situation, it's crucial to thoughtfully evaluate the potential consequences. Modern Stoicism emphasizes the importance of foresight, urging us to reflect on the long-term effects of our decisions, particularly when it comes to emotional detachment. Taking the time to think ahead allows us to make informed decisions that align with our values and personal goals, rather than reacting impulsively out of frustration or temporary discomfort. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's most influential philosophers, aptly reminds us, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." This profound insight encourages us to avoid rash decisions that do not contribute meaningfully to our larger purpose in life. In the context of detachment, we must ask ourselves whether the action will foster personal growth and emotional stability, or whether it might inadvertently lead to unintended negative consequences. While detaching from a relationship or situation may seem like a quick solution to an immediate problem, we must be careful not to overlook the ripple effects that might unfold in the future. A rash decision could potentially harm our well-being or those around us, leaving us with feelings of regret or guilt. Taking time to consider the consequences of detachment enables us to act with wisdom and clarity. It's not enough to think about the immediate emotional relief we might gain. We must also weigh the potential costs, such as the loss of important relationships, feelings of loneliness, or the possibility of regret. Detachment can certainly bring peace and clarity, but it often carries challenges, especially in the short term. However, by applying the principles of modern Stoicism and practicing foresight, we can determine whether the benefits of detachment outweigh these temporary drawbacks. For example, a person in a toxic work environment might feel the urge to leave for the sake of their mental well-being. While quitting might provide immediate relief from stress and anxiety, it's essential to carefully consider the long-term impact. Could leaving negatively affect their career progression? Are they financially prepared for the change? By thinking ahead and anticipating these outcomes, they can make a more balanced and informed decision, one that carefully weighs emotional health against practical concerns such as career stability and future opportunities. The key lesson from Stoicism in this context is the importance of not rushing into decisions. Instead of acting impulsively, we must practice patience and foresight, carefully considering the long-term implications of our choices. This approach allows us to avoid hasty actions that may lead to regret and enables us to move forward with confidence, clarity, and a sense of alignment with our Stoic ideals of wisdom, rationality, and virtue. By reflecting on the broader picture and using foresight, we gain the ability to make decisions that are both wise and practical, leading to greater emotional resilience and well-being in the long run. So, before detaching from a person or situation, take a step back, consider all the potential consequences, and ensure that your actions are truly in line with your values. In doing so, you not only preserve your peace of mind, but also make choices that will contribute positively to your personal growth and emotional health, reinforcing the timeless wisdom of modern Stoicism. Number 6. Take a social media break. In today's world, where digital distractions are pervasive, detaching from the constant flow of social media is a powerful way to reclaim inner peace and emotional well-being. While social media serves as a tool for connection, it often contributes to anxiety, stress, and unhealthy comparison. The Stoic philosophy, with its focus on emotional regulation and inner tranquility, provides valuable insights into managing our relationship with these platforms. One key practice is taking a break from social media, which helps us step away from the noise and rediscover what truly matters: our well-being, personal growth, and meaningful relationships. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, wisely states, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." In the context of social media, this quote is especially relevant. The endless scrolling, constant updates, and curated portrayals of others' lives often distract us from the activities that nourish our souls. The cycle of comparison can erode our self-worth, making us feel inadequate and constantly measuring ourselves against others. This unhealthy engagement can have a detrimental impact on our mental health, something Stoicism encourages us to protect and nurture. Taking a break from social media creates space for introspection and mindfulness. Without the constant barrage of digital noise, we can refocus on personal development, self-care, and the present moment. A social media detox is not about rejecting the modern world, but rather fostering a healthier relationship with it. By stepping back from the screen, we can regain clarity, allowing us to reflect on what is truly important and find peace of mind, rather than being swept away by the shifting tides of online content. For instance, imagine someone overwhelmed by the pressure of staying connected online. By taking a weekend off from social media, they reclaim their time and focus on activities that nourish their mind and body, whether it's reading, exercising, or spending time with loved ones. These simple acts can be incredibly restorative. After the break, they often return to social media with a clearer perspective and renewed balance, no longer trapped in the cycle of comparison and external validation. A social media detox also offers an opportunity to reconnect with the real world. In today's age of virtual relationships, it's easy to overlook the importance of face-to-face connections. By prioritizing in-person interactions and real-life experiences, we align ourselves with Stoic values that emphasize virtue, self-sufficiency, and meaningful human connections. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." This quote beautifully reflects the idea that turning inward and focusing on the tangible world around us can lead to peace that is unaffected by external distractions. The relationships we cultivate offline, through shared experiences and authentic conversations, are far more enriching than any virtual exchange. Disconnecting from digital platforms allows us to reconnect with ourselves and those who matter most in our lives. Moreover, taking a break from social media enhances our emotional resilience. Stepping away from the anxiety and uncertainty of online interactions creates a mental space for clarity. In this space, we can reflect on our emotions, thoughts, and actions with greater understanding. This sense of emotional freedom enables us to approach challenges with a calm, reasoned mindset, in line with Stoic teachings. While social media provides an outlet for connection, true emotional strength comes from within. By detaching from the virtual world, we create room for self-sufficiency and personal growth. Key principles of modern Stoicism. In today's hyper-connected world, it's easy to forget the importance of stillness and reflection, but the wisdom of Stoic philosophers reminds us that true peace lies within, not in the constant distractions of the digital age. A digital detox is not just a temporary escape, it's a tool for cultivating a balanced and fulfilling life. Taking the time to detach from social media reminds us of the importance of inner peace, authentic relationships, and purposeful living. The modern Stoic approach encourages us to find equilibrium between the digital and real worlds, focusing on things that contribute to personal growth and emotional resilience. Whether through mindfulness, nurturing relationships, or simply taking time for ourselves, the key to emotional well-being is knowing when to detach and reclaim the peace that is rightfully ours. Congratulations on making it halfway through the video. It's truly admirable that you're taking the time to learn and improve yourself. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below, whether it's your personal reflection or just a small share about your journey. If you're not sure what to write, just drop this slogan: "Step away from the noise, find your peace," so I know you've made it this far. It really helps the channel grow, and don't forget to subscribe for more meaningful content like this. Number 7. Focus on what you need. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by messages telling us what we should want, it's easy to lose sight of what we truly need. Modern society encourages us to chase after the latest gadgets, luxury items or experiences, selling the idea that these things are the key to happiness. But Stoicism offers a profound antidote to this constant craving for more. It teaches us to look inward and ask ourselves, what do we really need to lead a fulfilling life? By focusing on what truly matters, like emotional well-being, virtue and meaningful relationships, we can detach from the superficial desires that often cloud our judgment and steer us away from lasting contentment. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, famously said, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not." This wisdom strikes at the heart of understanding the difference between what we need and what we want. It's easy to be swept up by societal expectations and the constant barrage of advertising telling us that happiness lies in the things we don't yet have. But what if we stopped for a moment and re-examined what truly brings us peace and satisfaction? What if we could shift our focus away from fleeting desires and toward the things that nourish us emotionally and spiritually? Imagine a scenario where someone feels the pressure to keep up with the latest trends, always feeling like they need the newest phone, the latest fashion, or the next big thing to feel validated. They buy the items, but the happiness is temporary, fleeting. Soon they are chasing the next item on the list. One day, though, they pause and take a step back. They reflect on their values, and they realize something powerful. They don't need more stuff. What they truly need is more time for self-care, more quality moments with family and friends, more focus on their personal growth and health. By making this shift, they begin to experience a deeper sense of fulfillment, knowing they are investing in what truly matters. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, detaching from the relentless pursuit of material wealth and focusing instead on cultivating a life that aligns with your core values. It's about making a conscious decision to focus on your true needs, things that foster emotional stability and personal growth, rather than chasing after external validation or momentary pleasures. By learning to detach from the superficial, we align our actions with our deeper sense of purpose. We begin to create a life rooted in virtue, wisdom, and emotional resilience, all of which contribute to lasting happiness and peace. This is one of the Stoic secrets that can truly transform how we navigate the modern world. When we redirect our energy toward nurturing our relationships, investing in our own health, and growing as individuals, we free ourselves from the pressure of constantly wanting more. Instead of being driven by fleeting desires, we make decisions that reflect who we want to be and the life we want to live. What if you took a moment today to reflect on your true needs? What if you chose to focus less on acquiring more things and instead prioritized what would nourish your mind, body, and spirit? Detaching from the pressure to accumulate can bring a deeper sense of peace and satisfaction, and, as Stoicism teaches, true fulfillment is not found in things, but in living a life of virtue and wisdom. Number 8. Evaluate relationship value. In today's fast-paced world, where emotional pressures and social expectations are ever present, the wisdom of Stoicism offers a valuable framework for navigating our relationships. While some relationships enrich our lives, others can be draining, toxic, or even harmful to our mental and emotional health. Stoicism teaches us to critically assess the relationships we maintain, urging us to distance ourselves from those that do not support our growth or stability. Epictetus, one of the central Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you, Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. This advice highlights the importance of surrounding ourselves with individuals who help us become better versions of ourselves. Those who challenge, inspire, and support our growth. In contrast, relationships that breed negativity or stagnation must be reconsidered. The true value of a relationship extends beyond how it makes us feel in the moment. It requires reflection on whether it aligns with our deeper values, goals, and sense of purpose. Are the people we engage with helping us move toward wisdom and virtue, or are they holding us back? If a relationship prevents us from becoming our best selves, whether by draining our energy, encouraging unhealthy habits, or undermining our peace of mind, it is essential to practice detachment. Stoicism teaches that detaching from toxic relationships is not an act of anger or malice, but a conscious decision to protect our emotional well-being and mental clarity, as Marcus Aurelius wisely noted. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, reminding us that our relationships directly impact our emotional state and overall happiness. Consider a modern example. Someone finds themselves in a friendship that has become emotionally exhausting and manipulative. Despite the history shared, they realize that this relationship no longer serves their emotional health. After reflecting on the impact of the friendship, they decide to create distance, not out of bitterness, but to safeguard their peace of mind. They prioritize relationships built on mutual respect and growth. In doing so, they make room for more supportive, fulfilling connections. This is where the practical application of Stoicism is crucial. In today's world, we often remain in relationships out of obligation or fear of conflict, yet Stoic teachings remind us to prioritize our mental and emotional health. Evaluating relationships and detaching from those that hinder our growth is key to living a life aligned with our highest values. By intentionally surrounding ourselves with people who share our principles of wisdom, kindness, and virtue, we create a supportive network that helps us face life's challenges with resilience. Stoicism encourages regular assessment of the relationships we nurture. We must not accept connections out of habit or social pressure, but evaluate whether they genuinely serve our well-being. If they do not, it is our responsibility to step back and redirect our energy to those who align with our values. As Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." By investing time in relationships that nourish us, we make the most of our lives, creating a purposeful existence. By evaluating the relationships we allow into our lives, we empower ourselves to shape our social circle to support our emotional health and goals. This requires courage and wisdom, as detachment can bring emotional discomfort and the fear of conflict. But ultimately, the reward is a life filled with clarity, strength, and meaningful connections. Through modern Stoicism, we learn that the relationships we choose shape our lives. By prioritizing those who uplift us and distancing ourselves from those who hinder our growth, we lead lives marked by peace, resilience, and virtue, becoming the best versions of ourselves. Number 9. Learn to say no. In a world that relentlessly demands our time, attention, and energy, one of the most vital yet challenging skills we can learn is the ability to say no. Modern Stoicism teaches us that true wisdom comes not from doing more, but from knowing what to leave behind. The overwhelming flood of obligations, whether social, work, or personal, often leads us to neglect our own needs, leaving us feeling drained and disconnected. The art of saying no is a profound practice that allows us to reclaim our time, safeguard our emotional well-being, and maintain our mental clarity. It is not about being unkind or rejecting others. but rather about setting healthy boundaries that allow us to live according to our values and priorities. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom guides us to recognize that while we can't control the demands of the world, we can control how we respond to them, especially when it comes to how we allocate our time and energy. By learning to say no, we take responsibility for our lives, choosing to invest in what truly matters, whether it be personal growth, relationships, or our long-term goals. It's easy to fall into the trap of saying yes to every request or invitation, thinking that this is the path to being helpful or liked. However, when we say yes to everything, we end up spreading ourselves too thin and sacrificing our own well-being. We may please others momentarily, but at the cost of our own peace of mind. Stoicism encourages us to recognize that saying no is not a rejection of others, but rather a form of self-respect. It's an expression of our commitment to live purposefully and in alignment with our values. By protecting our time and energy, we preserve our ability to focus on the things that truly contribute to our personal development and happiness. This practice becomes particularly important when we are faced with social obligations, work demands, or requests from others that do not align with our core values or long-term objectives. For instance, we may often be invited to social events or asked for favors that, while not harmful, leave us feeling exhausted or overwhelmed. In these moments, learning to say no allows us to preserve our mental and emotional energy. Instead of succumbing to the pressure to please everyone or meet every expectation, we can choose to invest in activities that nurture our soul and align with our greater purpose. An example might be someone constantly invited to gatherings or asked to lend a helping hand, but who finds themselves feeling burnt out. After reflecting on their own priorities and well-being, they decide to turn down the next round of invitations, choosing instead to rest or focus on a personal project that contributes to their long-term goals. This act of saying no doesn't come from a place of selfishness, but from a deep respect for themselves and their journey. Moreover, saying no allows us to be more present in the commitments we do choose to accept. When we are not bogged down by an endless list of obligations, we can give our full attention and energy to the things that truly matter, whether it's spending quality time with loved ones, dedicating ourselves to meaningful work, or engaging in self-care. Being intentional with our time leads to greater satisfaction and fulfillment. Saying no doesn't mean avoiding responsibilities altogether. It means choosing the ones that align with our purpose and values. By mastering the art of saying no, we cultivate the ability to focus on what's truly important, avoid unnecessary distractions, and live with greater clarity and direction. In today's fast-paced world, where we are constantly bombarded with demands, learning to say no is an essential tool for living a life of purpose and peace. The modern Stoic approach teaches us that it's not about doing more, but about doing what truly matters. As the philosopher Seneca wisely noted, no man is free who is not master of himself. By saying no, we master our own time and energy, allowing us to live more intentionally, protect our mental health, and preserve our inner peace. In the end, saying no isn't just about rejecting others, it's about saying yes to ourselves, our values, and our peace of mind. It's a powerful practice that, when used wisely, enhances our emotional resilience, deepens our relationships, and enables us to live more fully in alignment with our true selves. As you embark on your journey of personal growth and self-development, take a moment to reflect on the power of saying no. In a world that demands so much of our time and energy, This simple yet profound practice is a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom. By learning to set healthy boundaries and protect your peace, you're making a commitment to invest in what truly matters. If you're ready to embrace this transformative practice and prioritize your well-being, share your commitment with our community. Comment, "I am ready to reclaim my time," to show that you are taking the first step toward living a more intentional and fulfilling life. Number 10. Seek inner calm. In the whirlwind of life's challenges, achieving inner calm is one of the most powerful tools we have for maintaining emotional balance. Life often feels like a series of uncontrollable events. Work pressures, personal struggles, the constant noise of the world around us. Yet Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control the external chaos, we have the ability to regulate our internal state through intentional reflection, mindfulness, and rational thought. Seeking inner calm is not about ignoring or suppressing our emotions, nor is it about retreating from life's difficulties. Instead, it's about cultivating a steady, peaceful mind that can navigate even the stormiest situations with grace. Think of it like having an anchor in the middle of a turbulent sea. When the waves of emotions like anger, fear, or frustration start crashing around you, your calm mind keeps you grounded, helping you stay clear-headed and centered. Inner calm allows us to respond to life's events without being overtaken by emotional impulses. Imagine you're facing a challenging situation, perhaps a confrontation at work or a stressful deadline. When you're calm, you're able to think clearly, weigh your options, and choose a response that aligns with your values rather than being swept away by the heat of the moment. You can make better decisions because your mind isn't clouded by panic or frustration. And as Stoicism teaches, peace of mind is essential to living virtuously. It allows us to maintain perspective, see the bigger picture, and avoid making hasty, regretful decisions that are often driven by emotional turbulence. This is why Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of practicing calmness. It's not something that happens overnight, but requires deliberate effort and regular practice. It can involve things like meditation, self-reflection, or even simple breathing exercises. For instance, let's say you're under pressure to meet a tight work deadline, and stress starts to overwhelm you. Instead of reacting impulsively, what if you took a few moments to breathe deeply, center yourself, and reflect on the situation? In that short time, you could restore your emotional balance, think more clearly, and then approach the challenge with a plan that is both effective and rational. This is where the magic of inner calm comes in. By practicing techniques that restore balance in the moment, you build emotional resilience, and you prepare yourself for the inevitable ups and downs of life. This doesn't just help you in times of stress, but enhances your ability to engage with life itself. When your mind is calm, you are more attuned to the present moment. You are less distracted by anxieties about the future or regrets about the past. This focused presence allows you to experience life more fully, appreciating small moments of joy and meaning that might otherwise be overlooked. This approach aligns perfectly with the Stoic goal of living virtuously and rationally. When we cultivate inner calm, we strengthen our capacity to live a peaceful, fulfilling life, no matter the external challenges we face. The Stoic secret here is profound. By building inner calm, we are not just responding to stress more effectively, we are shaping the quality of our lives. So next time you're caught in the rush of emotions, ask yourself, how can I restore my calm? Can I take a few moments to center myself, breathe, and approach the situation with a clearer mind? Practicing this skill will transform your ability to handle adversity with composure, and over time, it will become second nature. Inner calm doesn't just make us more resilient, it allows us to live more consciously and with greater peace of mind. This is one of the Stoic secrets that, when embraced, can bring lasting tranquility and wisdom into your life. Number 11. Identify what matters. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We're constantly overwhelmed by societal pressures, materialistic values, and the pursuit of external validation. This barrage of distractions often leads us to focus on superficial goals, pulling us further from a meaningful life. Modern Stoicism offers a solution by teaching us to focus on what's essential: our well-being, personal growth, and inner peace. It helps us discern what is fleeting versus what is enduring, emphasizing the importance of directing our energy toward what we can control, like our actions, relationships, and character, instead of external factors beyond our control. Identifying what matters requires self-awareness and conscious decision-making. Stoicism encourages us to focus on areas we can influence: our values, choices, and responses. Instead of being swept away by others' opinions or external circumstances, we learn to align our lives with our core principles. Epictetus wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants," highlighting that happiness is not found in external wealth, but in cultivating inner virtues like wisdom and self-control. By shedding distractions such as materialism and social validation, Stoicism helps us focus on what truly nourishes our well-being. Self-reflection is the first step in identifying what matters. We must ask ourselves what truly brings us fulfillment: material wealth, status, or meaningful relationships. Stoicism teaches that true happiness stems from wisdom, virtue, and personal growth, not external accomplishment. For instance, someone who has spent years chasing promotions and financial success may realize that their true fulfillment lies in the quality of their relationships and personal development, not in external recognition. Once they recognize this, they can shift focus and prioritize what truly nurtures their spirit. This process also requires us to let go of distractions that drain our energy. We often get caught in toxic relationships, stressful environments, or the pursuit of material possessions which detract from our deeper purpose. Stoicism teaches detachment, not as a rejection of the world, but as a conscious choice to remove ourselves from what doesn't align with our values. By focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot, we regain peace of mind and focus on what nourishes us. For example, someone caught in the cycle of external success may reflect on whether their pursuit aligns with their core values. Upon deeper reflection, they may realize that their true fulfillment lies in relationships and self-growth, rather than in financial success. By reassessing their priorities, they can redirect their energy toward relationships and activities that support their happiness and inner peace, a central tenet of modern Stoicism. Identifying what matters isn't just about reflection. It's about making intentional choices every day. Stoicism teaches that we must actively choose how to spend our time and energy. By focusing on our character, relationships, and personal growth, we align our lives with our deepest values. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom encourages us to stop chasing things that don't align with our values, and instead focus on cultivating inner strength for lasting happiness. In the long run, modern Stoicism calls us to live with intentionality and self-awareness. By identifying what truly matters, we navigate life's challenges with clarity and resilience. We stop being swayed by external pressures and focus on what promotes our personal growth and well-being. Whether it's in relationships, self-improvement, or virtue, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is essential, creating a fulfilling life and positive impact on those around us. True happiness and peace come not from external pursuits, but from cultivating habits of intentional living, guided by our core values. Number 12. Accept what cannot be changed. One of the core principles of Stoic philosophy is the wisdom of accepting what we cannot change. Life is filled with challenges and uncertainties, many of which are beyond our control. While it's natural to want to fix or control everything, Stoicism teaches us that true peace comes not from changing external circumstances, but from adjusting our response to them with calmness and resilience. Acceptance in Stoic terms is not about surrender or passivity. It's about acknowledging that some things are beyond our influence and choosing not to waste energy resisting them. Instead, we focus on how we can best respond. As Epictetus wisely put it, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This understanding allows us to regain control over our emotional states and navigate life with greater clarity and composure. Acceptance involves letting go of our attachment to outcomes, which often leads to disappointment when things don't go as expected. Instead of focusing on what's beyond our reach, Stoicism encourages us to concentrate on what is within our power, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. When we stop resisting reality, we free ourselves from frustration and create space for growth and new possibilities. For instance, imagine someone who has just lost their job. Initially, they might feel devastated and angry, but through Stoic reflection, they realize that while they can't change the fact of the loss, they can control how they move forward. Rather than dwelling on regret, they focus on exploring new career paths and enhancing their skills, turning this setback into an opportunity for personal growth. By accepting the situation as it is, they regain their sense of purpose and clarity. Another critical aspect of acceptance is recognizing that change and uncertainty are constants in life. Stoicism teaches us that nothing is permanent, and this impermanence can be a source of strength. In a world that often values stability, learning to accept change allows us to be more adaptable and resilient. Whether it's personal changes, shifts in the workplace, or the aging process, accepting life's fluid nature helps us approach each stage with an open mind and a willingness to grow. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This mindset helps us transform obstacles into opportunities, knowing that every challenge is part of life's ongoing evolution. Practicing acceptance also cultivates peace and clarity. It doesn't mean we become passive or give up on our goals. On the contrary, it empowers us to act with greater wisdom. By recognizing what we can't change, we focus our energy on areas where we can make a meaningful difference, whether in our relationships, work, or personal well-being. This allows us to direct our efforts purposefully, instead of being consumed by what we cannot control. This Stoic approach strengthens our emotional resilience, enabling us to face adversity with grace, knowing we have the inner resources to handle whatever comes our way. Accepting what we cannot change is a powerful practice that leads to emotional freedom and peace of mind. It reminds us that while we cannot control external events, we have complete control over our responses. By embracing this Stoic mindset, we move through life with greater ease, focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the things that are beyond our influence. Modern Stoicism teaches us that acceptance is not an act of weakness, but a conscious choice that empowers us to live fully, with a deeper understanding of our own resilience and strength. When we learn to accept what cannot be changed, we free ourselves from frustration and open the door to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. As Stoic philosophers have taught us, true strength is not in controlling the world around us, but in mastering how we navigate it with wisdom and patience. As you reflect on these Stoic principles, I encourage you to apply them to your daily life by practicing detachment, not as a form of escape, but as a way to cultivate emotional resilience, clarity, and inner peace. You can navigate life's challenges with wisdom and grace, whether it's stepping back from a difficult situation, setting boundaries, or simply learning to evaluate relationships more thoughtfully. These Stoic practices can help you live more intentionally and aligned with your true values. Remember, true happiness doesn't come from external circumstances, but from the mastery of our own thoughts and actions. So, I invite you to take a moment today and ask yourself, how can I begin to apply Stoic detachment in my life? What's one small change you can make to reclaim your peace and focus? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how these teachings are helping you grow. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to STIC Secrets for more wisdom on living a life of purpose and happiness.